Hello and welcome to the program. The Treaty of Friendship, Cooperation and Partnership between Ukraine and the Russian Federation expired on April 1st. The document provided that Ukraine and Russia, quote, respect each other's territorial integrity and confirm the inviolability of the borders between them. Now, after Russia illegally annexed Crimea and unleashed war in Donbas, appeals have been voiced repeatedly in Ukraine to sever the treaty. Joining us in the studio today to discuss the outcomes of the step is Andriy Veselovskyi, head of the Center for International Studies at Hennadii Udovenko Diplomatic Academy of Ukraine, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Ukraine. Hello and thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
So first question, this Russian-Ukrainian Friendship Treaty has been highly controversial on both sides of the past. Now, since February 27, 2014, when Russia illegally annexed Crimea, it has been thought over. Why did Kiev only now decided to stop the treaty right now?
Mm-hmm. Well, let me start from the 97. In May 97, the treaty was signed as a condition, because 3 days before the signing of the so-called big treaty, which is dead today, there was a signing ceremony of another treaty, so-called Black Sea Agreement. And this Black Sea Agreement, signed by then Prime Minister Chornomyrdin and Lazarenko from Ukrainian side, installed Sebastopol as a basis for Russian Black Sea Fleet, and gave to Russia several territorial points and premises and enterprises in Crimea in general and in Sebastopol in particular, in order to, to make Russian presence on Ukrainian soil legal. So this treaty was signed for 20 years, and it should have expired on 2017. And this was one of the reasons why Putin started war and occupied and annexed Crimea, because they feared that by 2017 the expiration of the treaty comes naturally and they have to withdraw their bases from Ukraine. So only after this treaty, this Black Sea agreement were signed, Russia agreed to sign the big treaty, which was important because it was stipulating solemnly that our border between Russia and Ukraine is an international border. We recognize it, we respect it, and etc., etc. We will never harm each other from our territories. We will do everything. We are brothers and sisters and whatever. So it was a political, well-crafted Russian political combination in order to have presence on the territory of Ukraine. Now it is dead, as well as the Black Sea agreements is dead, by the way, denounced by the Russian side, not by Ukrainian side.
Why is that so?
They made it on the 1st April 2014 because they already knew what they were doing. Still, in our case, Ukrainian power at that moment was still thinking that this is some aberration, that that we can put toothpaste back into
the tube,
and there were some doubts whether maybe it's temporary. We can do something. We can treat something, etc. But Russians knew quite well what they were doing and why they were doing. So they formally denounced this treaty and put a dot. So why we waited for almost five years? The denouncing treaty means refusing obligations. It's not good for the for the, how to say, for the country, for the image of the country. Denouncing treaty means
that you stop basically having
reversing something. So the way out was found quite well. We simply do not prolong it. That's it, and it lost its validity officially and naturally, and that is why it was done that way.
But de facto, Russia tends not to respect, in any case scenario, those treaties. It could be, I'm thinking about the Budapest Memorandum, thinking of all these things that basically they sign things that they won't obligate themselves to do so. Why continuing to trust Russia over that kind of thing?
It does not mean that we trusted Russia. It means that we don't want to be named as a country which do not respect its own signature. We announced, and by the Verkhovna Rada, by the decision of the Verkhovna Rada, that there is an aggression, Russian aggression against Ukraine, that we are in a state of war with Russian Federation, and that they annexed part of our territory. Everything was clearly stated. At the same time, in the history of young state, it's not good to have some reversal of own obligations. That is why we decided to wait a little bit. We didn't lose nothing.
So it's more an idea of image for domestic policy and international policy.
Yes, and international especially. So it could have been done, of course, in the first months, but hasty decisions in international politics is not a right thing.
Now, incidentally, the end of this treaty also coincided with the Ukrainian first round of presidential elections. Do you see? How would you commend this? And when Russia said, quote, that Russian lawmakers said, quote, they would prepare a statement of non-recognition of the result. What's your sense on that?
Well, it's a ridiculous announcement, first of all, because the State Duma does not exist for Ukraine. You maybe remember that 2 years ago, in 2016, Ukrainian Verkhovna Rada adopted a law announcing Russian Duma not an AU GHT invalid institution because they organized elections on our territory. So we do not recognize neither members, nor decisions, nor acts of this so-called Russian State Duma. So whatever they decide, whatever they announce, or whatever law they adopt concerning us or others does not exist for Ukrainian state. And let them do it. Let them play. Let them play. Well, if they don't have important things to do in their own country, well, okay. Everything is already perfect. This is the minor thing they have to finish the job. Okay, let them do it.
Now, can this rupture of these treaty can be used in front of international court, for example, for Ukraine to make its case against Russia? Concerning Crimean aggression, concerning the Russian aggression in Ukraine in general?
Yes, of course, in a sense of, well, not legally, but how to say, from the point of view of spirit, we are now free of these so-called obligations violated by Russia first. And it gives us a better moral ground, a better moral position to sue them in the courts, which we do, we will continue to do, and we will even ratchet it. And it comes day by day, case by case. You know already that there are a couple of decisions concerning seizure of Ukrainian property in Crimea, but there are decisions in The Hague. There are good talks coming in the International Court in New York, etc. So we are on our good way. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're optimistic about it in general?
Well, I'm not optimistic about timing because international law is a very lengthy tool. But I'm optimistic about the results because it is absolutely obvious, visible, and defendable that Ukraine was aggressed, territory seized, people killed, property taken, and all this is very easily to present. And international law and international law society understands us and support our position.
Now, and to conclude this interview, as we said, on April 1st, the first round of the election happened. The next round, the second round, is going to be on 21st of April. Now, how do you see the outcomes between the two candidates towards this relation with the Treaty of Russia? Is there like major differences, continuity, stability? What's your take on that?
The next Ukrainian president will be a happy man, knowing that he has no obligation under any agreements against Russia. Well, it's okay. We start from tabula rasa. It is good. Second, this is a good example. Think twice what you do when you deal with Russia. And it's not only about us. It's about other states as well. Well, we say that, for example, now the treaty on medium and medium-range missiles has been denounced also by United States and Russian Federation. Why? Because Russia was cheating. And this is another example. Yes, of course, it's a dangerous step. It's a bad step, but it's better than to have new Russian missiles already prepared and directed against Europe and against other countries, including us.
Yes,
when I say against Europe, I mean Ukraine as well.
Thank you very much for this highlight. It was a pleasure to have you in the studio today to talk about this.
Thank you very much.
Friendship.
Thank you for the talk.
That was Andriy Veselovskyi, head of the Center for International Studies at Hennadii, Udovenko, Diplomatic Academy of Ukraine, Ambassador Extraordinary, and Plenipotentiary of Ukraine. Thank you for watching the program and stay tuned for the rest.